They fired me to save my sister, but they had no idea I secretly owned the entire company. Three people stood behind my fall: my sister, my boss, my so-called best friend. They yanked off my ID badge like I was garbage. I said nothing. I just stood there, hiding a grin, because they had just fired their real boss. If you've ever been betrayed, mocked, or pushed aside, this story is yours. Like, share, and follow, because the revenge is coming and it will leave you speechless. 6 months ago, I was just Ethan, the guy fixing printers, forgotten in every room. No one cared that I was the one keeping the company alive. I even brought my sister Ashley in, pulled strings, got her hired, trained her myself. But the moment she got close to the CEO's son, everything shifted. Meetings happened without me. Emails vanished. Projects I started stolen by other teams. Then came the final blow, a fake complaint filed by Ashley herself. She accused me of misusing company data. HR handed me the letter. A fake smile, a fake reason. It's not personal, Ethan. It's for the good of the company. Not personal, she was my sister, and she just destroyed everything I built. Or so they thought. While they were busy playing politics, I was building something bigger. 5 years ago, I launched a silent venture, a shell company developing cybersecurity tools. While no one noticed, that shell company started buying up shares of their firm. Hidden, silent, untouchable. Not even Ashley knew. And just 1 week before they fired me, I signed in the final deal. I owned 72% of the company. But I stayed silent, waiting to see who'd betray me first. And she did, right in the back. So I walked out empty-handed, humiliated, with whispers chasing me down the hall. But I wasn't done, not even close. 2 days later, they threw a massive party celebrating new leadership. Ashley walked in dripping in a $4,000 dress like she owned the place. Derek Cole, my ex-best friend, stood beside her, champagne in hand, acting like he hadn't just stabbed me. Laughing, toasting, plotting. But they didn't know. I had already called an emergency board meeting for that very night, under my real name. At 7:01 p.m., alerts went out: mandatory board attendance required. Ashley frowned. "Why would the board meet without telling me?" Derek Cole smirked. "Relax, it's probably about your promotion. You're about to be CTO." She smiled, but not for long. The boardroom fell silent when I walked in. Ashley's jaw dropped. Derek Cole's glass shook. The CEO, our uncle, squinted. "Ethan, what the hell are you doing here?" I walked to the head of the table, calm as ice, and slid a folder to the company lawyer. "You might want to read that out loud." The lawyer flipped through the pages, his face paling with every word. "Signet Global, majority shareholder, sole owner." The room froze. Ashley whispered, "This is a joke, right? He's just the IT guy." I looked her dead in the eye. "Correction, I was your IT guy. Now, I'm the reason you get paid." The room froze. Board members leaned in, whispering, confused. The CEO stood up, furious. "You manipulated us. You went behind our backs." I leaned forward, voice steady. "No, I played your game. You just never thought the loser would win." Ashley went pale. Derek Cole kept blinking like his brain had short-circuited. Our uncle frozen like someone had pulled the plug on him. I stayed silent, letting the weight of their defeat sink in. Mr. Bernard Knox, the oldest board member, finally spoke. "Ethan, are you saying you've been buying shares all along?" I nodded, slow and sure. 5 years of silence. "While you mocked me, I was buying this company one piece at a time." Ashley slammed her fist on the table. "This is crazy. You were just the background guy. You didn't even speak up in meetings. How could you do all this?" I locked eyes with her. "While you played office games, I built an empire." The board lawyer confirmed: legal, valid, irreversible. But I wasn't done. I stood up and dropped the second bomb. "I'm not here just to own this company. I'm here to clean it." I slid another folder across the table. Evidence, emails, transactions, forged reports. Ashley's name was right on top. She snatched it, flipped through it, panicked. "You're doing this because you're jealous." Because I got ahead, I stood calm but sharp. "No, I'm doing this because you betrayed me, and you're a threat to everything I've built." Derek Cole jumped in, sweating, voice shaking. Derek Cole's face turned white. Ethan, we're friends. Come on, man. Don't do this. I turned to him, voice like ice. Friends don't sell each other for a promotion. You could have walked away, but you chose to stab me too. Derek Cole lowered his head, speechless, defeated. With 72% ownership, my vote ruled them all. In minutes, they were out. But I wasn't finished. I pulled out 3 sealed letters. I handed them one by one. Ashley, Derek Cole, our uncle. Consider these your final paychecks, severance included. You're officially out. Ashley's voice cracked. You can't do this. You can't just erase us. I looked her dead in the eye. You fired me to protect yourself. Now I'm just returning the favor. I walked to the door, all eyes on me, but just before I left, I paused. Oh, Athara. And that Bali retreat next month. Still happening, just without you. But I wasn't ready for what came next. I thought it was over. I thought firing them was the end. I was wrong. 3 days later, the call started, silent. No voice, no ID. Then came the emails, threats, fake lawsuits, false claims of fraud. At first, I ignored them. Just noise, I thought, until someone broke into my condo. Nothing was stolen. But my laptop, it was open, files accessed, a message clear as day. I checked the security footage. Someone used my old key card, the one from back when I was 8. Only 2 people still had access, Ashley and Derek Cole. I knew it was them, but I didn't know how desperate they'd become. The fall of Ashley and Derek Cole. Ashley tried to launch her own tech firm using stolen files from my company. But when investors ran background checks, they found the scandal. She was blacklisted. No one touched her. Derek Cole. He went begging for a job at a competitor. But every door was already closed. Every company knew what he'd done. They thought I had leaked it, but I hadn't said a single word. They were falling, and they blamed me. Ashley and Derek Cole were crashing hard, and in their eyes, I was the reason. So they made one last move, a final shot, to destroy me completely. The stage was set. It was the annual shareholder meeting. My first as majority owner. Everything was perfect. The presentation, the numbers. Profits had soared under my leadership. But just as I stepped onto the stage, a voice cut through the crowd. Ethan Blake is a fraud. He stole this company. It was Ashley. She marched forward, waving a thick file for all to see. This proves Ethan's holding company used stolen software and fake shells. He doesn't own this firm legally. The room fell silent. Hundreds of shareholders, board members, the press, all staring at me. One wrong word, and I'd lose everything. My name, my company, my legacy. The Ms. Evelyn Cross turned tight-lipped. Mr. Blake, do you have a response? I walked to the mic, calm, cold, and then I smiled. Actually, I was hoping you'd show up today, Ashley. I reached into my folder, pulled out the real evidence. Recorded calls, emails, bank transfers, all showing how Ashley had bribed a former employee to fake those very documents she was waving. I had let it happen. I had let her walk right into the trap. Weeks ago, I had planted a fake file in the system, ownership vulnerability. She took the bait. She took the bait, and I took the stage. I played a short audio clip. Her voice rang out crystal clear. If we leak this, it'll ruin him. Doesn't matter if it's real. By the time he proves it's fake, the damage will be done. Gasps filled the room. The Miss Evelyn Cross stood frozen. A board member whispered, "Oh my God." I turned to Ashley, dead calm. You taught me how to play dirty. I just got better at it. Security moved in. Ashley was escorted out, face pale, defeated. The room erupted in applause. I looked out across the crowd. This company was built on silence, betrayal, and politics. But starting today, it will stand for something better. Or so I thought. The next morning, a letter arrived on my desk. No name, no sender, just a gold-embossed seal I hadn't seen in over a decade. Inside, a single handwritten note. We know who really funded Sinet Global. You're not the only ghost in this story. Let's meet. D. My heart stopped. Only one person ever signed with D. Daniel Carter, my ex-business partner, the man I thought died 15 years ago. If he was alive, then everything I built wasn't just mine. The past I buried wasn't done with me. 15 years ago, Daniel and I were just two broke tech nerds working out of a storage unit. He was brilliant but reckless, always chasing shortcuts, always one bad deal away from ruin. He wanted us to sell our code to a foreign investor with serious red flags. I refused. And then the accident happened. His car went off a bridge. No body, no closure. I moved on. Built Sinet alone, or so I thought. I followed the letter's instructions. An empty warehouse. Midnight. When I arrived, he was already there. Same smirk, same leather jacket, like he'd never disappeared. Long time, Ethan, he stepped from the shadows. I thought you were dead, I replied. He laughed dark and low. Almost, but watching you build the company solo, that gave me a reason to come back. Then he tossed a flash drive toward me. What's this? Proof that your entire shell company was seed funded through an account I set up, which means legally I own 49% of Sinet. My stomach twisted. That's not possible. You were gone. You signed over everything. He cut me off, grinning. I forged the signature, Ethan, and now I want in. Half the profits, half the power, or I leak everything. The board, the press, the investors, all of it. It felt like the floor collapsed beneath me. I had just won the game, only to face a ghost from my past coming to claim half my empire. I stared at him, steady, calm. Then I smiled. You didn't come back for power. You came back because you're broke. His grin faltered. I pressed on. You wouldn't have waited 15 years if you were winning. You've got nothing, Daniel. That flash drive, it's a bluff. He stepped closer, voice low, threatening. Want to bet? The final move was mine. I handed him a folder, voice steady, cutting through the silence. I already knew you were alive, Daniel. I've been tracking the offshore account you used to fund Sinet, and I bought it 6 months ago. His eyes widened. You used a dead man's account. I leaned in, and I used it to bury you legally. You own nothing, not 49%, not a single share. You're just a ghost. Security lights flickered on. My private legal team stepped in. Daniel backed away, face twisted in shock. You set me up. I took a deep breath. No, I just finished the story you tried to erase. As they escorted him out, I stood there breathing deeply. No family left, no friends from the old world, but I had something better, peace, and that was priceless. The last frame on the wall. Back in my office, I hung a new frame on the wall. They fired me, but I owned everything they worked for. And underneath, I added one more line, and when the ghost came back, I buried them too. Because sometimes revenge doesn't have to be loud. It just needs to be permanent.